A 69-year-old man named Richard sat across from me and said something I've heard more times than I can count. He said, "Dr. Narita, I'm doing everything right. I take my magnesium, I walk every morning, I eat reasonably well. So why do I still wake up exhausted? And why is my body not responding the way it used to?" Richard wasn't looking for sympathy. He was looking for an answer. And the honest answer was that he had been given incomplete information. Not wrong information, incomplete. There was a layer of the picture that nobody had shown him yet. And once we filled it in, everything changed. I'm Dr. Narita, a board-certified urologist with over 12 years of experience helping men over 60 reclaim their circulation, their sexual vitality, and the deep, restorative sleep that makes everything else possible. I've worked with thousands of men who were already doing the right things and still falling short. And in most of those cases, two specific vitamins were missing from the equation. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what they are, why they work together in a way nothing else replicates, and how to take them tonight to begin restoring blood flow and performance while you sleep. Before we go further, do me a favor right now. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I genuinely love connecting with men all over the world who are taking their health into their own hands. You being here already puts you ahead of most. Now, gentlemen, let's talk honestly about what is actually happening in the body of a man over 50 who is struggling with circulation, performance, and sleep quality. Because most of what you've been told stops one layer too shallow. You've heard about magnesium. You've likely tried it. And magnesium does matter. I won't tell you otherwise. But magnesium is a relaxation mineral. It helps muscles release tension, helps the nervous system settle, helps blood vessels stop clenching. What it does not do, what it cannot do on its own, is rebuild the inner walls of those blood vessels, restore the hormonal signaling that drives nighttime performance, or reactivate the cellular machinery that produces nitric oxide in aging vascular tissue. For that, your body needs something upstream, something foundational. Here is what most men over 50 don't know. After the age of 50, two specific biological processes begin to decline simultaneously, and their decline is directly responsible for the trio of symptoms that brought you to this video tonight: poor sleep, reduced potency, and diminished physical vigor. The first is the health and flexibility of your vascular endothelium, the thin, living lining inside every blood vessel in your body. The second is your body's ability to maintain the hormonal environment that makes nighttime recovery and sexual function possible. Both of these processes depend on vitamins that your body can no longer produce or absorb efficiently on its own, and both of them are correctable. This is not inevitable. Your body has far more capacity for restoration than you've been told. The first vitamin is vitamin D3, and I want to go deeper with you on this than most videos do. Biologically, D3 is not simply a bone vitamin. It functions as a steroid hormone throughout the body, and it binds directly to receptors inside the Leydig cells of the testes, the exact cells responsible for producing testosterone. When D3 is deficient, those cells receive a weakened signal. Testosterone production slows. But here is the piece that connects directly to circulation and performance. D3 also binds to receptors in the endothelial lining of your blood vessels and actively regulates the expression of endothelial nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme your blood vessels use to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells your arteries to dilate, to open wide, to allow blood to move freely into every tissue that depends on it. After 50, nitric oxide production is already declining naturally. D3 deficiency accelerates that decline. A study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that men with vitamin D deficiency had significantly higher rates of erectile dysfunction, not because of psychology, not because of age, but because of compromised vascular signaling at the cellular level. That is a biological problem with a biological solution. Emotionally, this is what that deficiency feels like from the inside. It feels like unreliability. It feels like a body you used to trust that has started to let you down at the moments that matter most. Many men describe a quiet withdrawal from intimacy, not because desire has gone, but because confidence has. When D3 levels are restored and vascular signaling begins to recover, the men I work with don't describe fireworks. They describe something quieter and more meaningful: the return of consistency, of showing up the way they want to, of trusting themselves again. Practically, here is what the evidence supports. Take 3,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D3 in soft gel form. Soft gels absorb meaningfully better than tablets, with your evening meal, not your morning meal. D3 is fat-soluble, meaning it requires dietary fat for absorption, and your largest meal is typically dinner. There is also emerging evidence suggesting that D3 taken in the evening may more directly support the brain's nighttime regulatory processes, which connects to the sleep benefits we'll come to in a moment. Give it 8 to 12 weeks of consistent nightly use and have your serum levels tested. Optimal for men over 50 is between 50 and 80 nanograms per milliliter. That is the range where the research shows the strongest vascular, hormonal, and neurological benefits. I think of Marcus, 67, a retired contractor, physically active and genuinely healthy by most measures. He came to me because his performance had become what he called inconsistent and unpredictable. His cardiovascular workup was clean, but his D3 was critically low. We corrected it over 10 weeks. When Marcus came back, he looked different, more settled. He said, "I don't know what you fixed, but whatever it was, I feel like myself again." What we fixed was his vascular signaling. The rest followed. The second vitamin is vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form. And this is the one almost nobody is talking about in the context of male performance and sleep, which is exactly why I want to dedicate real time to it today. Biologically, K2 in the MK7 form performs a function inside the body that is genuinely remarkable and almost entirely misunderstood. Most people have heard of vitamin K in the context of blood clotting. That is vitamin K1. K2 is different in both function and destination. K2 activates a protein called matrix GLA protein, MGP, which is the body's primary defense against arterial calcification. Arterial calcification is the process by which calcium deposits build up inside the walls of blood vessels, making them stiff, narrowed, and resistant to the dilation that healthy circulation requires. After 50, this process accelerates in virtually every man, and stiff, calcified arteries cannot dilate the way performance and sleep recovery demand. K2-MK7 literally removes misplaced calcium from arterial walls and redirects it to bones where it belongs. A study published in Thrombosis and Hemostasis found that long-term K2 supplementation significantly reduced arterial stiffness and improved vascular elasticity in older adults. This is the upstream intervention that makes everything downstream, including the effects of D3, work better. Here is why D3 and K2 must be taken together, and why taking D3 without K2 is an incomplete strategy. D3 increases calcium absorption from the gut. That is one of its core functions. But if K2 is not present to activate the proteins that direct that calcium into bones and away from arteries, the calcium absorbed through D3 supplementation can contribute to the very arterial stiffness you are trying to reverse. D3 and K2 are not optional partners. They are a biological team. When taken together nightly, they work in concert to improve vascular elasticity, support testosterone signaling, and create the circulatory environment in which both deep sleep and sexual function become possible again. Emotionally, arterial stiffness has a feeling that men rarely name correctly. It feels like a body that is permanently at half capacity, like effort that doesn't translate into the results it once did, like a car engine running on restricted fuel flow. Men describe it as heaviness, physical and sometimes emotional. When circulation improves and the body's tissues begin receiving blood flow at the levels they were designed for, men describe something they often struggle to articulate: a lightness, a return of responsiveness, a sense that the body is back on their side. Practically, take 100 to 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 in the MK7 form alongside your D3 with dinner every night. The MK7 form has a significantly longer half-life in the body than the MK4 form, meaning it remains active for days rather than hours, which is why it is the form the research consistently uses and validates. Look for a combined D3-K2 soft gel if possible. Several high-quality options exist that pair them in the correct ratios. This simplifies everything. Stay with me, because what comes next ties everything together. And it's the piece most men watching this have never heard explained. I want to tell you about Walter, 72, a man who had tried magnesium, tried zinc, tried various supplements for 2 years with modest results. When I ran a full panel, his D3 was low normal, and his K2, which most standard panels don't even test, was effectively zero through diet alone. We introduced the D3 and K2 combination at dinner nightly. At the 8-week mark, Walter called my office. He said, "I don't know what's different, but I'm sleeping through the night for the first time in years, and my wife has noticed a change in me." What changed was the vascular environment his body was operating in. Both experiences, sleep and performance, depend on the same underlying biology. Flexible, responsive blood vessels that can dilate fully when the body signals them to. Now here is your simple action plan. Tonight, with dinner, begin taking 3,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D3 and 100 to 200 micrograms of vitamin K2, MK7 together in soft gel form. Take them with your largest meal to maximize absorption. Do this every night. Consistency over 8 to 12 weeks is where the research shows meaningful change. Have your D3 levels tested at baseline and again at the 3-month mark. Target 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. That is it. 2 vitamins, 1 meal every night. The biology is straightforward. The evidence is solid. The implementation is genuinely simple. I want to speak directly to you for a moment. If you have been frustrated, if you have tried things and not gotten the results you were looking for, if you have started to quietly accept that this is just what your body does now, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are not simply old. You may be operating with an incomplete nutritional foundation, and that is not a character flaw. It is a biology problem, and biology problems have biology solutions. The research on D3 and K2 is not fringe science. It is peer-reviewed, replicated, and clinically meaningful. Your body has more capacity for restoration, for deep sleep, for potency, for vigor, than the story you've been living inside. The evidence backs that up. You are not done. If this video gave you something real today, a piece of the picture that was missing, share it with a man in your life who is still looking for answers. He may be doing everything right and still coming up short. He may just need this one addition to the equation. Like this video so other men can find it. Drop a comment below. Tell me which symptom you're most focused on improving: sleep, circulation, or performance. Your answer helps me know what to cover next. Subscribe so you never miss what I share each week for men who refuse to accept decline as a verdict. I'm Dr. Narita, reminding you that after 50, vitality isn't lost. The research shows it is genuinely biologically within reach. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.